Hello, what we do around here every day is highly questionable. This is Izzy Gutierrez. What do you like on the show today, Izzy?
LeBron got kicked out of the game?
Yes. They won. Dale, papi.
Do you expect to see Eli Manning playing for another team next season?
I thought the reaction to Eli Manning was so unusual because the New York media that isn't nice to anybody was overzealously protective, and Eli Manning is weeping and blubbering, and Eli Manning was just done a favor. He's going to be in either Jacksonville or Denver next year, but let's listen to the blubbering and see if his face here is any different than winning the Super Bowl, losing a game by 40, sedated, or is his skin on his face just heavy?
Well, it's hard. It's been a hard day to handle this, but hang in there and figure it out.
Hardest days of Giants, you say?
It's up there. Yeah.
Do you feel like you might have started your last game for the Giants?
I don't know. I don't know. I'll take it one week at a time.
Is it just me, Dan? Wasn't it supposed to be sort of Ben McAdoo was the lame duck head coach? So you're having the lame duck head coach handle this PR move, which is what it is. It's ceremonial, it's all that stuff, but it's a PR move for a longtime quarterback. So you're letting him botch this PR move, which, by the way, would make other quarterbacks coming in possibly say, you know what? I don't think I want to play for that franchise because of the way they dealt with their quarterback. And imagine, a Josh Rosen saying, no, you can draft me if you want. I won't sign with you. And wouldn't that be the New York Giants quarterback situation coming full circle?
But here's one of the problems here with the idea that Eli Manning is being profoundly disrespected here. He's disrespected if you make him play 5 games behind that offensive line on a 2-9 team when you have no intention of bringing him back and you have no real chance of winning in any way. This is a quarterback who 4 out of the last 6 years has had losing seasons. He's at the tail end. He needs better teammates. He could go get them someplace else.
He also remains the face of that franchise, and he probably will be even next season. He's got a tough contract to trade, so if he's still going to be around, this is not the way to treat him. You probably shouldn't have even let Ben McAdoo make these choices without conferring with a lot of other people.
Can I hear that sound again, though? Because I think if you listen in the background, it's going to play here. You're also going to hear sound exclusively here of Geno Smith in the background. Listen to the Eli Manning sound, but listen in the background. You're going to hear from Geno Smith.
It's hard. It's been a hard day to handle
right there,
this.
Right there, Geno Smith saying, "Whoa, my New York now, baby, my New York, whoo!"
Are you kidding me? He goes to the bench now to the end of the season. You know what I mean? So he's going to get paid a lot of money for doing nothing.
That's
just
right.
sitting on the bench.
Working.
I mean, he might fall asleep, maybe have a drink or something while he's in Margarita. And then if he goes to Jacksonville, are you kidding me? Jacksonville is warmer there, He doesn't have to put up with all the snow. It's a hell of a deal. It's a little bit stinky there, but other than that, everything is good.
Those were tears of joy.
Yeah.
Those were tears of joy.
They were tears of it stinks in Jacksonville.
Is LeBron being officiated fairly?
Oh, my father enjoyed part of that last night, the ejection, where he's like, whispers to my mother, "Oh, look, we have a chance. Now that we're down 20, they didn't have a chance even though he was ejected. Ejected for the first time, but watch this. He says he's always fouled. He's not a jump shooter. He's treated like a jump shooter. And then this referee here says that he was too aggressive, vulgar things in his ear, and threw him out there. And I just don't think you can throw out LeBron James in that spot. But answer the question here, Izzy. Do you think he's being officiated fairly? Because it is hard to officiate him.
Well, I think in general, sort of a two-part answer here. I think in general, he's officiated unfairly. I think for the entirety of his career, he's essentially been the Shaquille O'Neal of the perimeter. Guys are like gnats on him. You can't really tell if they're fouling him, but he is getting fouled. He just powers right through them. So I think he has built up so much frustration over his career, and he has to be credited for keeping that under wraps and keeping it mellow, if you will. And I do think that when he yells at officials, he should have a lot more leeway. If you think about the way Draymond Green treats officials, he does what LeBron did once a quarter, and yet he gets the leeway because it's just his personality, it's the way he reacts. So LeBron James being ejected after that act, I think is entirely unfair. Oh, and I kind of forgot my favorite part about this story. If you remember his little beef with Enes Kanter in the past. Well, Enes Kanter saw this and couldn't keep it to himself and decided to tweet this out right here, circling the referee that ejected LeBron, calling him the king of Cleveland. My favorite part might be the hashtag strive for greatness. This Enes Kanter LeBron James beef is essentially Jay-Z versus Soulja Boy. It's a joke, but I love it.
I wish that Enes Kanter and his team were better. This would be more fun if Enes Kanter could matter.
Finally, a referee step up to the place with the big grapefruits and threw this bump out of the court.
Right,
That's what I'm saying. Finally, after all these years, 15 years, you know, the guy got fed up of listening to all the that LeBron was throwing at him. That's it. I love every second of it. As a matter of fact, that referee should referee every Cavalier game from now on. That's the guy I want there. Every Cavalier game, you know.
His only nemesis. Who can stop LeBron in the East? Only this nameless referee.
Which of the college football playoff teams is most likely to drop out?
Most likely, everyone's flawed. Most likely, I'm hoping it's Wisconsin. Why? Because you're just as tired of them and you don't believe in them just like I do. I know, unless you're watching in Wisconsin right now, you're like, no, it's that same damn team. They're going to do that offensive line thing where they hand the ball to somebody 30 times a game. I don't want to watch it. I expect them to get beat by Ohio State. Even if you don't expect them to get beat by Ohio State, you're rooting for them to get beat by Ohio State because nobody wants to see Wisconsin in this Final Four.
Yeah, I expect Oklahoma to win. I expect Auburn to win, and I expect Clemson to win. I do not expect Wisconsin to win and hold their spot. But the whole thing about this college football playoff rankings and the Final Four, I just wish they would wait until this week to reveal the first rankings, because think about how exciting you'd be when you look at these and be like, oh my God, Alabama could still get into the Final Four without even playing in the SEC championship game and would cause all this furor. But really, we've already kind of known this was coming the whole time.
Greg McElroy said something interesting on the radio yesterday. The playoffs start right now, this week. All of these are play-in games. You all wanted more than 4 teams in this playoff. Well, now you have more than 4 teams because Oklahoma's playing for a spot. Clemson, Miami are playing for a spot. Auburn and Georgia are playing for a spot. Wisconsin, Ohio State playing for a spot. All of those are playoff games.
Could Washington's front office actually find itself rooting against Kirk Cousins over the next 5 games?
Crazy to say, but it's being reported now that Washington is going to do this evaluation about whether or not Kirk Cousins is worth $34.5 million next year over the next 5 games. The next 5 games are going to be the measurement. And I feel like they are where a lot of us are. We aren't very good at quarterback evaluation, not even in that league. Tyrod Taylor, you saw what happened with the Buffalo Bills. Tom Brady was a 6th-round draft pick. You could look all around that league. Jeff Fisher thought that Jared Goff was a bum last year. Now he's not. Case Keenum is good in Minnesota. We are bad at quarterback evaluation, and even Washington is looking at this and saying the same things you are. Kirk Cousins, $34 million? Really? It's not going to be decided in the next 5 games. They're not going to know any better then either.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like a great business decision. It feels like they keep botching this when you consider, okay, they paid him $20+ million this year and possibly going to pay him $30+ next year. Potentially, we're going to use these 5 games to sort of evaluate him. Let's look at what he's done already. He's given us enough of a track record to say, yes, he's an above average quarterback. He likes to throw the ball deep. We like that. But the closer he gets to the end zone, the worse he gets. And wins and losses is what it is. He's not taking you far. So I don't know why you're even considering paying him in the $30+ millions by using 5 games as an evaluation. I think we've seen enough to know he's not worth that much money.
$35 million a year?
That's right.
So the Dolphins, they got a hell of a deal with Jay Cutler.
That's right.
They only gave him $10 million. You know, that's
$10 million. Now, he's only going to play 10 games. It's going to be about $1 million a game for Jay Cutler.
Wow.
It'll be about a third the quarterback because that's about right.
About right. Value.
Nearly 25 years ago. Join us at 6.
Joining us at the bench today, Cliff Kingsbury.
He's the head football coach at Texas Tech. For some reason, hates Izzy Gutierrez. Wouldn't do the interview with him on set, so let's talk to him without Izzy. Is there anything in your childhood that you say, you look back on and you're like, what was I thinking? That was so stupid, it was so dangerous, and I was a complete idiot back then. Any point in your childhood, could be 9 years old, where you're trying something and you find yourself in one of these positions that kids find themselves in.
I can't. My dad was a military guy, and he was very, very strict. So we kind of kept it down the middle my entire childhood because we had a great fear of the consequence with him at the other end.
Well, how extreme, though? Give me the most extreme example of your father being a disciplinarian.
Well, we had a board on top of the refrigerator, and he would, and it was a big board, and obviously back then you would get spanked and take whippings, and he would hit us with it in the rear aggressively anytime we screwed up. And he was a Purple Heart Vietnam vet, and so he didn't mess around. He came right with the corporal punishment, and I'm glad he did.
So what was on that board, though? Like transgressions, or what? How did the board work?
It was just like, no, it was like a board with a handle where he would paddle us. Yeah,
okay.
it wasn't
You're
like
talking
you
about
get
a board. Okay.
No, it wasn't like you get a
a board
cumulative mark. It was one and you were done. It was a board you take, and when we were little, we tried to get to it and get rid of it. We couldn't get to it, and he would enforce it.
What's the thing that you did that got the board? The thing that you did that you still remember today that you did wrong that got the worst board beating?
Yeah, it actually was a basketball game between my brother and I, and my mom was watching, my dad was watching. It was supposed to be kind of a fun family outing, and we got intense, and I dropped a big F-bomb late in the game. Yeah, and that was a stronger force than normal on that one because my mom was out there, and we weren't going to do that.
Was it right on the court?
Yeah, it was right screaming right at my brother, and then that was it.
But
he went in, got it, and I paid the price.
Oh, right on the court you paid the price?
Yeah,
right on the court?
Went in, got it off the fridge, came right out, and that was it.
Can you tell us about your brother and competitive fights with your brother? Because I was told that you and he weren't allowed to share a field as kids, right? You weren't allowed to play at the same time?
It was bad, and I talked a lot of trash. Younger brother always talks the most trash, and he's a big dude, so he would get after me pretty good. And so our parents kind of said, all right, y'all aren't playing anything against each other, no more sports against each other, because most of the times it'd end up with me sprinting home and him throwing rocks from a distance, and I'm weaving trying to get home without getting hit.
Okay, I want to hear some of these stories, though, because I have these with my brother where I chased him down the street in my underwear with a butter knife. That was like a couple of months ago. You have to have the most memorable story in your childhood was?
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those. We had played like home run derby where you hit over the power line. I had beat him, and I was talking a lot of noise, and he got mad and took off and was throwing rocks, and I tried to get into my door and couldn't get it locked quick enough, and he busted it open and beat me up pretty good. And after that, our parents kind of separated us.
Oh, so that was so that was the last straw.
That was the game changer.
If you'd just gotten the lock done, you might still be fighting like that, right?
I'm telling you, I have nightmares about not being able to get it locked quick enough. That was like a constant theme, if I get it turned or not.
Now, how much bigger than you was he? Like, how were you ever a winner in any of these disputes?
No, I was like 0 and 100 in fights. Toughened me up, I think, as a player, but 0 and 100, and he's still a lot bigger than I am, and I still would not test him to this day.
Didn't you get a letter one time from a woman who sent you a picture and, the news that she had broken up with her man and a bunch of music from the 90s as well? Didn't that happen?
She did. She sent a mixtape, and it was like Backstreet, NSYNC, some like Jodeci. I mean, it was unbelievable love songs, and our imaginary relationship was broke up, and that was like the trying to win me back with the mixtape, which I appreciated.
And so what did you do? Did you write her back? Did you call? What did you end up doing?
I just played along, wrote it back. Like, I loved our relationship, and I still think about you, and I listened to your music, and it was on point, and I appreciate your taste in music.
What do you got for him, Poppy? Go ahead.
Yeah, you were questioning Jeopardy. I heard that your grandmother was very excited about that. What was that question all about?
Oh, you were questioning Jeopardy. Is that right?
I think in a roundabout way, it was something about which college coach resembles, and I think it was a Daily Double, an actual picture of Ryan. No, it was me. It was a picture of me and said, who does this guy resemble? And the answer was Ryan Gosling. So that was a big moment in the Kingsbury family lineage to be on Jeopardy.
How did your grandmother discover this? Like, what, was she just watching one day and your face came up?
Yeah, I think it just popped up. I mean, as a family, we were a big Jeopardy crew growing up. Everybody throughout the ages has watched it, and it popped up, and she was pretty thrilled.
Have you ever once pretended to be Ryan Gosling just for your friends to make them laugh? Ever one time?
No, when I'm on the West Coast around Vegas and I have sunglasses on, I can pull it every now and then, but I don't get too deep. It's like a real surface area, and it's really not.
We appreciate.
I can pull it every now and then, but I don't get too deep. It's like a real surface area, and it's really not.
We appreciate.
24 hours, on time, accurate, streamlined. Over 2 million people have turned to Money Mutual. See what all the talk's about. Go to moneymutual.com right now. Money Mutual, at the speed of life. This service is not available in New York or to New York borrowers due to interest rate limits under New York law.
And their hotel on beautiful South Beach, Miami. Time to play the game that is riding high on the crypto coaster. Do you question?
You give us topics and events and we question them.
Do you question if this dog has a legitimate right?
I wish this is the show we were doing all the time instead of taking the burden of Eli Manning questions and digesting them for the 50th time today on the network. Let's check in with this dog. What's he griping about? Oh, yeah. Yeah, where are you at? I've been in here a long time. I'd say, come on, man, you gave me just this little sliver of window. Somebody get over here and feed me, pay attention to me, get me out of here.
How do more dogs not recognize and find that horn?
Yes.
I feel like this should be happening all the time.
Yes. He's just sitting there and he's leaning on it.
Got to be trained to do that.
My owner's a jerk, everybody. Jerk. Yeah, you're a jerk too.
I would tweet that out right there and shame that owner.
Yes.
If he doesn't want to stay in that car anymore, he got to do a 1 and a 2 inside the car. So when the owner gets into that car, then he realizes I shouldn't leave the dog inside the car for that long, That's what he got to do. That's right. He got to send a message, a stronger message, that's all.
A smellier message.
A smellier message. Do you question if the driver can blame this on being old?
Maybe you're turning into ESPN for the first time today, trying to find some sports, and we are covering parking lots all over the land. We go from a dog honking a horn to whatever's happening with this old guy in this parking lot.
Killing it.
Oh, yeah. This is why I don't want my dad driving for very much longer. And he gets very mad at me. And this is a glimpse into my future. Now, this is a glimpse into my future right here because my stubborn old man, there's no way he's going to stop driving. And so 15 years from now, that's going to be my father.
Oh, my God.
You guys think I'm kidding. It's one of my greatest fears.
They shouldn't have cameras in parking lots, That's a disgrace, That's not fair for the old people.
It is. Some privacy for the old people. Broadcasting their shame like that.
Time to play the game that is emotionally traumatized for walking in on Dan in the bathroom. See? Or no?
You're traumatized from walking in. You don't think I would be traumatized by that? You tell us what's on television tonight. We'll tell you if we are intrigued or not.
On NBA TV, Warriors and Lakers.
Always here for the Warrior games, but let's check in with a previous Laker game. Lakers and Clippers. Lakers are down 5. Lonzo Ball is inbounding the ball. And he's open. There it is. With confidence and grace, Big Baller Brand hits the top of the backboard.
Big backboard breaker.
Big backboard brand. Break backboard brand. Izzy, are you intrigued?
Yes, I'm intrigued. But here, Steve Kerr, you might be my favorite person in sports. But you got to give me a heads up if you're not going to play Steph Curry and Kevin Durant. Because then crazy things happen like this guy being right about predicting the Kings win. So I'm going to give you a couple more chances, but just give me a heads up next time.
Poppy, are you intrigued?
Oh, see, I'm very intrigued. I'm telling you something. Some time ago, not too long ago, LeVar Ball said that his son Lonzo was going to be better than the Steph Curry, that he was better than the Steph Curry. Well, tonight's the night to prove it, that talk is cheap, but now tonight, you got to prove to the entire world that Lonzo is better than Steph. Everybody's waiting for you.
Tonight's the night. Ignore that whole video we just showed of you hitting the side of the backboard with a jumper.
On the Discovery Channel, Homestead Rescue.
Oh, this is a couple, a father and a son here. They're trying to clear a tree. If my father and I tried to clear a tree right now from our home, it would take the rest of our lives. My father, that's how he would try to do it. He wouldn't have a utensil. He would just be doing that. Let's see what we've got here.
Be really careful.
It seems like good advice.
I believe, yes, it goes unspoken. Be really careful.
This thing could splinter and roll and come right for him or go down this way. I don't know. I have no idea where it's going to go right now.
It's like hearing the management.
Hey, Dad, that thing is about to go. He's sawn completely all the way through it. It's disconnected completely from the base.
You didn't listen to the part he said about be careful. He told you to be careful. Izzy, are you you intrigued?
I mean, I wasn't, but I am now. I got to know what happens to that dude.
What happened at the end there? There seemed to be things eating him. Poppy, are you intrigued?
Oh, see, I'm very intrigued. That was close, but I have seen closer.
Oh, look out. What do we got here? Oh, I remember this. Oh, yes, the umbrella. Watch for the lady. I've got this one memorized. Yeah. Oh!
That was near death.
Yes, that was almost the end of a couple of careers.
How do you look around and say, clear, you're ready to push that thing?
Look out! Let's check back in with the guy in the orange hat on the right, and he tells her how to check in that a giant tree's about to kill her. Look at this helpful guy over here. Watch. Oh, you gotta look where you're going. You gotta keep an eye on things.
Oh my God! Thanks, Captain Obvious. Thanks, Captain After the Fact.
That is
really helpful.
Every Monday morning sports radio show after a coach has blown a lead. That right there.
That's all the time we have for today. Thank you for watching.
We also appreciate your hygiene. Thank you.
Thank you for watching.
Does ESPN know that you look at that stuff while working? Huh?